Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a best of two between Dark and Neep here for the WTL. Recently played in the clan war between Dragon Phoenix Gaming and Onside Gaming, in which we see this is our starting match. Very exciting stuff. Neep is a player that I think almost always has a pretty consistent level and then has these really high peaks. Then he can just fall back onto his consistent level. He's one of these players you never really want to play against because he's literally always scary. You play against Neep, you know it's going to be a difficult time. Even if he hasn't played in a while, even if he's a little bit less active than back in the day. Ooh, what did Dark just look at? He looked down right, like there's a cat or something. Dark doesn't strike me as a cat owner though. I'm not sure what animal he would own. It'd probably be some weird animal. Like a lizard. A very large one. Like a snake. But he wouldn't keep it in a cage, just in his room, you know? Just for fun. God, snakes are kind of scary. Wake up one day, boom, snake around your neck. Boom, over for you. Now, Nexus is coming out here for Neep. It's Dark. Well, he actually got a third base, or a natural at the third base location. Neep managed to block it. That's a nice start for Alexander Soon or Alex Soonderhaft. Neep, Neeplet. Can name him whatever you want. Remember, it used to be called Neep, and then there was this one BlizzCon where every player had to give their preferred nickname, and he called himself Neeplet. And then he kind of turned back to Neep, because right now he's playing under the handle Neep once more. Not quite sure why that is, but maybe just wasn't entirely sure about his online personality yet. Perhaps to the best. Can't quite recall having any other names than Harstem that weren't just terrible names. I think Harstem for as long as I remember. My nickname used to be training.org111 because I was initially a human player, and then I would practice my orc in Warcraft 3. But I didn't want to ruin my main account, which I can't actually remember the name of. And then I called myself training.org111. Because I think one was taken, and then I just added two more ones. Also was my nickname on the ESL website initially, if I recall correctly. And then I changed it into Harstem when I was 14, and I never looked back. Not a bad nickname, if I may say so myself. I also like the word Neep. Don't think it actually means anything. I love nicknames that don't mean anything. Just except for, you know, whatever meaning you attach to it. This is going to be, well, actually, what is this going to be? Oh, wow, Neep. What a fancy build order. Look at that. 2 adepts, pre-warp gate. Is this going to be like 3 gate glaives with like 8 adepts maybe? 7? What are we looking at here? I'm not so sure. This is a really, really tricky build, though. I think it's going to be 10 adepts, I think, is what we're going to hit with. Either 10 or 13. First warp-in is going to start now. Will be 3 adepts. There's already 4 or 5 out on the map. I'm not entirely sure if I caught how many it was. Okay, it seems like it's 4. No, 7. There we go. Yeah, there's going to be 10, then it's going to be 13. He's already moving out with these initial 7, though. There's roaches out on the way. This is a double gas response coming out of Dark, so wants to move into Ravagers from here. This is often followed up with an insanely fast push to run across the other side of the map. Now, these adepts without the glaives will not be capable of fighting properly against these queens. They won't even be capable of fighting properly against these lings. They're backed into a corner, forced to recall right now, and another adept is going to get taken out. I think that was 4 adepts that just died. There is some potential here for Dark to just hold down that link button, morph 3-4 Ravagers, and A-move across the map, and it really looks like that's what he's doing. I mean, he's down in workers by a decent margin, 46 against 32. Neep seems kind of unaware of that fact, though. Doesn't even have his glaives finished yet. 5 Ravagers being built here instantly, with a 6th one soon to be on the way. More links as reinforcement. This is going to be practically impossible to hold. There is not a single robo unit out. There's no Dark Shrine on the way yet. Biles are going to miss. I think this Ravager is not going to finish up either, which is kind of a big deal. Do these adepts just shade across the map? I wouldn't have minded it personally. Shade across the map, hold your natural, and then hope that your adepts on the other side of the map can deal a lot of damage. Would have not been a bad option. Would not have been a bad path to kind of follow and see where it leads you. Instead, Neep is going to try and hold the third base, which isn't really necessary. 32 workers against 48. Keep your workers alive, give up the third. And honestly, Neep is doing a fine job. A way better job than I would have imagined him capable of doing after seeing how that initial Glaive Adept attack went. Batteries are about to finish up. All there's really left right now is a couple of Ravagers, a bunch of Lings, more Roaches as well moving across the map. There's still quite some gas in the bank for Dark. But can he do something with that gas? Yes. 3 more Ravagers going back up to 6. 2 more sentries coming in as well. Neep continuously building probes here. Not focusing as much on the static defense. Not focusing on chronoing his gateways to get the maximum amount of units out. I think this was a minor misread here coming out of Alex Sunderhoff. And the American Protoss player in a lot of trouble right now. This robotics facility might finish up. No super battery. Okay, here we go. Finally, Ravager's gonna move forward. We'll start biling down that pylon as well as that battery at the same time. Adepts being warped in, and the Immortals dealing a decent chunk of damage, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. 51 army supply against 16. This third base is toast. Can Neep save his natural is the next question, and without a battery there, with this Immortal getting surrounded, the answer to that is also going to be no. Immortal gets blasted. Robo is still stuck at the third base with an Immortal halfway done. 4 Stalkers and an Adept against, what is it, 11? 10 Ravagers is just simply not going to be good enough. This is the final bit of production that Neep really had. I think there might be one more gate in the main. GG gets called as Dark wins game number 1 in this best of 2. Game number 2 here is going to be played on Cosmic Sapphire. Would you look at that? What an exciting map that actually is, isn't it? Surprised that Neep picks this. So you get loser's pick. Now, if I were to ask Zergs what their least favorite map is to play on, I think the ordering of that would be Stargazers, Moondance, and then probably Data Sea. And Cosmic Sapphire is actually one of the maps that I think in a best of 3 usually gets picked by the Zerg. So very often in best of 3s you end up with the map pool of Inside and Out, Data Sea, Cosmic Sapphire, and then the Zerg pick is going to be Cosmic Sapphire as the better one of the maps. So probably the third best Zerg map in the map pool. Of course, you have, in the case of vetoing Tropical Sacrifice and Waterfall, that is, as a Protoss player. Which isn't always the case. Some Protoss players really like Tropical Sacrifice. I don't mind it personally too much either. I actually prefer Tropical Sacrifice over Cosmic Sapphire. And Waterfall tends to be the first veto for a lot of tosses. But for tosses that like playing Glaives a lot, some of them really like Waterfall because it's a short map. And it allows you to easily block your opponent's natural as well. So just a lot of difference between players and between playstyles, which is always good, I think, is when the vetoes aren't necessarily set before the best of 3 already. And that it really depends on your opponent and how you like to play and how you perceive the matchup to be. Like, there are some people that hate the late game and wouldn't want to play on Data Sea just because of how annoying they find late game in Protoss versus Zerg. Then there's some Zergs that have the exact same sentiment. They're like, well, I'm pretty much forced into a late game and I can't seem to win for the love of me a late game against Protoss in this matchup. So yeah, it's interesting how that works always, the difference between players there. The difference between like styles. I think that's a good thing generally. If everyone plays the same boring stuff and everyone feels like the same maps are good, that's not a good state for the game to be in. That's what it used to be for a while with the Void Ray meta that we had in Protoss versus Zerg, where there was a clear amount of better maps. Like certain maps were just clearly better for Void Rays, and those were just better maps because no one was playing anything but Void Rays, because Void Rays were simply the best option to play. Now, what do we see here out of Neep? We see a quick Stargate, we see a Warp Gate as a follow-up as well as an Adept. Dark's trying to send the 2 links around, but it's actually going to pull them back right now. Don't completely mind that. Actually, kind of like it here. Oh, the Adept's gonna move to the other side. Maybe that can finish. Yep, there we go. Could even potentially go into a main base here. It's definitely a possibility. Wouldn't be completely opposed to it. Shading into the main for fun. That's one of the things that people really underestimate, is that if it's a 2-2 link split, your first Adept can literally always go in. This is really good actually for Neep here. It's going to get a lot of kills and there's just not enough links. Speed isn't done either. What a sloppy defense out of Dark. Like, he doesn't how can you not have a response prepared for a 2 Adept shade in? That's one of the most common scenarios in the PvZ matchup, yet Dark seems to be completely unaware of what to do here. He's going to lose a lot of links. Yes, eventually he'll get the 2 kills on the Adept, but not before losing a couple more links. No control on these links either. What a sloppy defense. I did not enjoy this at all. That's a bunch of links that went down. That is 3 drones that went down. If you just kill 3 drones, that is usually enough already. You don't have to kill any extra links, but Neep did kill extra links, so that's a pretty big deal. We see a lair rush, and that can only mean one thing. I've watched enough Dark in my time that I know that I see a 350 lair, that it's going to be a Queen Ling Nidus build order here, off of I think it's like 38, maybe 40, 41 workers or so. And that's literally always it. It's the sickest style, and yet Korean Protosses have not figured out this style yet. It happens every single time. It's uncanny. It really is uncanny. Seeing this layer go down, finishing at, what is it, like 435, 440, something along those lines. And then Protoss players not realizing what's going on. Second gas, dead giveaway as well, of course. Sadly for Neep, hasn't spotted that layer timing yet. Now sees the Spore and sees more drones coming out. Will get 3 worker kills. Would love for him to just spot that main base right now. So there's a bunch more drones coming in. Actually, maybe Dark doesn't want to play it here. Hasn't started his... Oh, never mind. There we go. Started the Nidus, starts building the links as well. Okay, so he wanted to do this maybe of like 46 workers. That's a very high worker count. Has lost 6 workers already in this game, of course. Okay, it's just gonna straight up get spotted here. Yeah, this is terrible for Dark. Terrible, terrible. Especially given the follow-up that Neep is playing for. Neep has added 2 extra gates, is delaying his forge. All of these things are fantastic. Nidus network is going to be thrown down. Batteries need to start in both the natural as well as the third base. And Spire. Oh, it's a fake Nidus into Spire. Very cool. Very, very cool indeed. How sophisticated. So Neep scouts it, and the response out of Dark is a Spire, but a bunch of links were already built, and the preparation was set for this, right? Mineral count is very low. We can see it in the supply. We can see it in the drone count as well. The drone count is extremely low. Road Warren is going to be the follow-up. The gas count isn't even necessarily that high. This is just a bad situation here for Dark. A bad, bad situation. He needs to do something about the incoming Stalker attack. Look at this! Neep sees the fact that there's no fort base yet, and even seeing this fort base will probably kind of make him happy. He's like, hey, that's cool. I can cancel that. I kill your drone. You're forced to cancel. Minus 75 minerals, minus 50 on the drone. 125 minerals for free. Very cool. On top of that, has a lot of gateway units, which allows him to push across the map. Maybe force out roaches. If Dark doesn't build roaches here, does he straight up die? I don't know, but maybe? There's going to be Blink and what, like 12 Stalkers? Link's completely out of position as well. Fort base is not going to get cancelled. I think Dark right now is realizing what's going on. It's like, wait a second, I'm actually dying. That should not have been Mutas. It should have been Lynx or Roaches, and I think it's just going to be a little bit too late. Stasis Ward is going to connect with 7-8 Lynx. It's going to be enough, I think. Mutas can't fight against this army. Blink has finished up. More Stalkers are moving in. 3 Oracles in the back. Completely out of energy, but it's not even going to matter. GG gets called as Dark looks very upset with his terrible build order choice, but it's too late now to complain about that. Neep looks pretty happy with that, and that, my good friends, is going to be it for me today, as well as for Neep and Dark. I hope you all enjoyed this series. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.